Hey guys, so first of all, I just really want to say thank you guys for your patience with the readings. I know I didn't get any out this week. I've really been working on how to bring them together in a way that provides the most information and is the most beneficial to you guys. So that said, with each of the readings that I'll be doing, when I pull a zodiac sign, I am intending that represents the sun, moon, and rising for that zodiac sign. So with that, you will be able to create from these 1-card readings a 3-card reading by looking at the card for your sun sign, your moon sign, and your zodiac sign. Literally, I think each one is like there's over 1,700 different permutations of that. So it gives you a pretty personalized reading. If you do not know what your sun, moon, and rising sign are, you can head over to cafeastrology.com or Google Cafe Astrology and Birth Chart, and you can actually get your free birth chart there. So here we're looking at your shadow work. What is coming up in your shadow work with this full moon solar or lunar eclipse in Leo? What shadows are you working through, or what archetypes are you working to live into? So you have Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Excuse me, guys. I am sure that was really loud in the microphone. So, Aries, you are working with the Virgin archetype, but it came through in the shadow form. So you are working through a fear of intimacy into being able to maintain a space of intimacy while still maintaining purity of heart and spirit. So that's the archetype and the shadow work that Aries is working on. For Taurus, the shapeshifter, so you're actually working on the light aspect of this. You are working on living into the skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness and the ability to kind of see potential in everything. And that one gets really deep. So have fun with that one in your meditations, Taurus. So for our Geminis, you are working through the shadow aspect of the victim. And so that is not necessarily, so this card says playing the victim, but it's falling into that belief that anything that's happening isn't something that you can ultimately turn into your benefit. It is feeling like things are happening to you as opposed to happening for you. And that is, kind of what the light attribute that you'll eventually work into as you work through this shadow work of really recognizing that things aren't happening to you, that they are happening for you, no matter how crappy it looks. An example, I sliced the heck out of my finger. I didn't mean to give you guys the finger. I'm sorry. I sliced the heck out of my finger yesterday. It brought me a new way of shuffling the decks where I can actually hold them in my hand. That's what I'm talking about. All right. So Cancer. The archetype you're working with is God, and you're working with it in the light attributes. And that is really embodying kind of, a lot of people will speak of it as the Christ-like consciousness, but this idea of benevolence, of compassion, of recognizing the light in all, recognizing the good, recognizing that God consciousness lives in all of us. It's truly living into the idea of namaste. So, Virgos, so you are working on the shadow aspect of the dilettante. And that is, really working through this, presenting yourself as knowing more than you know. And a lot of times that will happen, because, we're insecure and we want to put ourselves out there like, we really know. But you'll be amazed at what happens when you acknowledge that you don't know, when you acknowledge the limits of your knowledge. And that will for Virgos, that will really allow you, there's going to be a depth that you're going to be able to go to, and it's going to expand your research, your knowledge, all of that, living into the higher aspect of that. So for our Libras, oh no, that was Leo. I'm sorry. Oh, guys, that's Leo. Leo, you're the dilettante. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, that last one was for Leo. Virgo, you are living through the martyr, and you're actually living into the light aspect of that. So you've moved out of the self-pity, and you're starting to understand this idea of service for the sake of service, just helping people, to help people, to include yourself. So that is for you, Virgo, moving out of kind of the self-pity and, oh, well, I did all that for you, into this idea of recognizing that whatever you're doing for someone else, ultimately there is a piece that you're getting back for yourself. So I will not get the wrong card again. Libra. So you are working into the light aspect of the magical child. And so that is seeing the potential and beauty in all things, seeing through impossibility, seeing that anything is possible. So that is for our Libras. For our Scorpios, you guys are always so interesting to me. You guys are working through the shadow aspect of the mediator. So that is basically, you're working through and getting over and trying to get past negotiating things for your own personal benefit or your own personal agenda without necessarily being really honest about the fact that that's what you're working for, and really starting to see how to create win-wins. That's what you're moving into, or you're working into that light aspect of how do I create win-wins. All right. For our Sagittarius, you are working through the shadow aspect of the liberator. So, really, that reminds me of how the U.S. goes into places like Iraq to bring them freedom. So it's basically like you're helping people, but you're helping people again with your own agenda, or you're helping them, but to help them, they have to do it your way, and working into, really helping people to find their own way of being liberated and their own empowerment. So not helping them in ways that necessarily just empowers you, but helping them in ways that empowers them as well. So Capricorns, that would be me. We are working through the shadow aspect of the prostitute. And so that is really working through this idea of placing material gain over self-empowerment. Not necessarily over self-respect, but over self-empowerment, over your spiritual path, over your spiritual purpose, really focusing on material gain, I don't want to say at the cost, but without much thought for anything else. And that being the highest value. And you're working into the light aspect of recognizing that you can be spiritual and profitable. You can be in alignment with your spiritual path and still be in alignment with money. So for our Aquariuses, you guys are working into the light aspect of companion. So that is really working into this light aspect of understanding what loyalty is, tenacity, or that really being able to stick it out in a relationship through the hard times, and moving out of that space of selfishness, of recognizing that what you're giving, you're going to get back, even if you're not necessarily receiving it from that exact person. And for our Pisces, you guys are working through the shadow aspect of the storyteller. So making sure that you guys are working through the need to kind of exaggerate a little bit, tall tales. I once caught a fish that was this big, sort of thing. So working through that into recognizing that the story that you have to tell is interesting enough. You don't need to add anything to it. So like I said, guys, you can take your sun, moon, and rising sign and put together the 3 archetypes and shadow work that you have, and that's going to be brought up during this interesting moon. And I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I will see you guys later. Till next time.